Your child is reorganizing their bedroom at 2 in the morning, and they tell you they just could not sleep tonight. You think at least they are doing something useful with the time instead of just lying there staring at the ceiling. What their brain is actually communicating is that everything inside feels like chaos, so they are controlling whatever they can reach. Children almost never say, "I'm struggling emotionally." They say, "I'm fine," and they mean it as a complete conversation ender. What makes these signals so easy to miss is that none of them look like distress. They look exactly like personality traits. These are 10 ordinary behaviors that quietly indicate a child is not okay, plus one thing parents accidentally reinforce without knowing. Stay through number 6 because that is the specific moment where most parents unintentionally make the situation considerably worse than it was. Number 1. A sudden dramatic shift in how they approach school in either direction without any obvious external explanation for it. Your relaxed B student suddenly decides that anything less than perfection is a catastrophic personal failure requiring immediate correction. They are studying until 2 in the morning for an assignment worth 5% of a grade in a class they were passing fine. Or the opposite. Your previously motivated child starts shrugging at failing grades and saying they do not care about any of it. 2 completely different behaviors, one shared message underneath both of them. Something inside me is hurting and I cannot say it directly. The perfectionist is thinking that if everything on paper looks controlled, maybe the chaos inside will finally quiet down for once. The one who stopped trying is thinking they are going to fail at the things that matter eventually. So why delay the inevitable now? Sudden large changes in academic effort in either direction are almost never about intelligence or laziness. They are about internal pain. Instead of asking what is going on with school, try asking how you have been feeling about yourself lately when it comes to your work. The inside being broken will not stay contained to grades for long. It will start showing up in other places almost immediately. Number 2. Their social world keeps reshuffling in ways that look like drama, but are actually something closer to identity panic. Last month's best friend is now someone they do not speak to, and a completely new group has replaced everyone who came before. Or they went from being surrounded by people constantly to suddenly spending most of their time completely alone without explanation. It is tempting to dismiss this as normal teen drama, but what looks like social chaos is usually someone trying to escape themselves. They are not swapping friends. They are trying on different versions of who they are to find one that makes the inside feel better. The funny one, the smart one, the one who does not care about anything, the one who floats between groups without belonging to any. When none of those identities fix the feeling, they move on and try another combination with a different set of people around them. Instead of "why are you always falling out with people?" try "you have had a lot of changes with friends lately. How are you feeling about yourself?" When changing who surrounds them stops helping many kids move to the next controllable variable in their life, which is usually time itself. Number 3. Their sleep schedule has shifted so dramatically that they are essentially living in a completely different time zone from everyone else. They are awake until 3 or 4 in the morning and then completely unreachable until noon, or later the following day. You assume screens are the problem. Their brain has actually decided that being awake during the day is simply too uncomfortable to tolerate. Daytime arrives with school, expectations, social interactions, and people asking, "How are you?" in a way that demands a performance of fine. Night comes with quiet, no one watching, no demands, and no requirement to pretend that everything inside is under control right now. So they quietly migrate their life into the hours that ask the least of them and require the smallest performance of okay. Watch what they do between 2 and 4 in the morning. Deep cleaning, reorganizing, launching big projects that appeared from nowhere overnight. That is not a productivity phase. That is emotional avoidance, wearing the costume of something that looks useful and responsible from outside. A useful check-in is, I have noticed you are up really late a lot. Is it that you cannot sleep, or that tomorrow feels like too much? Once sleep shifts like this, the body is usually the next place the stress finds a way to make itself visible to the people around them. Number 4, their appetite has changed noticeably, and the change does not have a simple physical explanation behind it. One week their plate comes back full and they insist they already ate, or they are just not hungry and cannot explain why further. The next week, the kitchen is being visited repeatedly at night, and food is disappearing in ways that have nothing to do with actual hunger. Most parents focus on what their child is eating. Emotional distress is more concerned with the reason the pattern changed at all. Not eating can mean everything feels too large, and controlling food intake is the one remaining thing that still produces a sense of winning. Overeating can mean nothing feels good right now, and food is the most reliable thing available for temporarily changing how the inside feels. It is not always the beginning of an eating disorder. Sometimes it is simply the first physical signal that emotions have gone off the rails. Instead of you need to eat properly or stop snacking so much, try, I have noticed your appetite has changed. Is something feeling heavier lately? When direct emotional conversation feels too unsafe, most kids find a way to let those feelings out through the one channel that seems safer: humor. Number 5. Every other sentence is a dark joke about themselves, and the jokes are landing in ways that feel slightly too accurate. You ask how they are doing, and they say something like, honestly, I am a disaster, but I have made it into a personality, so it is fine. It sounds like internet culture, it sounds like normal teen humor, and sometimes it genuinely is exactly that, and nothing more concerning. But watch the pattern. Are the jokes consistently about being worthless, broken, invisible, or better off not being here in some form? Do they use humor to redirect every serious question back toward laughter before any real answer can form and land between you both? Do they shut down or deflect the moment you try to move underneath the joke and find out what is actually sitting below it? Kids will often say the most honest thing they have ever said as a punchline, just to observe whether anyone in the room notices it. The right response is not panic, but it is also not laughing along and moving past it as though nothing significant just happened there. Try. You joke about yourself in a pretty dark way a lot. I know humor helps, but is any part of what you are saying actually true? They are not hiding from you when they do this. They are testing whether you are someone who can stay steady if they tell you the truth. When they reach that point, the smallest additional thing can break through the dam they have been holding in place for weeks already. Number 6. They explode over something completely minor, and the size of the reaction makes no sense relative to what just triggered it. You bought the wrong brand of something, a plan changed by 15 minutes, someone sat in the spot they always sit in at dinner. And suddenly you are dealing with tears, yelling, doors, and sentences like, "You never listen," or "I just cannot do this anymore right now." You see a massive overreaction to something trivial. They are experiencing the final straw after 100 things they never said aloud. All the invisible accumulation, school pressure, social anxiety, comparison, body image, fear of the future, has been stacking without a release. Then one small additional thing lands on top of that existing weight and snaps the only thread that was still holding everything together. It is not about whatever small thing triggered the moment. That small thing simply absorbed the consequences of everything that came before it. Instead of "Why you being so dramatic?" try, "I know this is not really about what just happened. What else has been building up lately?" Because when they cannot find language for their own internal mess, they often switch strategies and start looking for proof in your history instead. Number 7. They start asking you surprisingly specific questions about your own painful experiences from when you were their age. Out of nowhere. Were you ever really unhappy as a teenager? Did you ever feel like you did not belong anywhere? How bad did it actually get? It sounds like curiosity about your past. It is closer to research being conducted by someone who needs specific and urgent information. They're essentially asking whether anyone has ever felt exactly the way they are feeling right now and survived that experience intact. The questions get specific. On the scale of 1 to 10, how hard was that period? Did you ever feel like things would never get better? They are looking for evidence that their pain is not unique, not permanent, not a sign that something is irreparably wrong with them specifically. You do not have to share everything, but you can say, "Yes, I remember feeling really alone and really low. It was genuinely hard and I got through it." Then turn it back. Did something about what I just described feel familiar to you? Is any of that close to what you are feeling right now? You are not answering a question about your past. You are answering the actual question, which is whether what they feel is survivable. And while all of that is happening internally, their physical environment often begins to visibly mirror the emotional weather they are living inside. Number 8. Their room has transformed into something closer to a cave than a bedroom, and light has become something they actively avoid. Curtains permanently closed, lights almost never turned on, blankets arranged to block any remaining gaps where daylight might find a way through. You tell them to open a window and they respond that the sun is too much right now, and close the subject without further explanation. It is easy to dismiss this as a teenage aesthetic or a phase that will pass when their mood eventually shifts back toward normal. But kids build their physical spaces to reflect their internal state. A disaster floor can be normal teen, or it can be my brain matches this. A perfectly organized and controlled room can be healthy responsibility, or it can be, if I control every object, maybe I feel less out of control. The specific red flag is the cave. Darkness by deliberate choice. Light treated as something demanding energy that simply does not exist anymore. Light feels like pressure to them right now. Bright rooms feel like they are asking for a performance of okay that cannot be delivered. The cave is the only place that does not require them to perform functioning for the benefit of the people around them who might be watching. You do not fix this by opening the curtains. You start with, when everything is dark like this, Does it feel calmer or does it feel heavier? Once they're living in a cave, both physically and emotionally, their questions about the bigger picture of life tend to start shifting in character. Number 9. They have started asking heavy philosophical questions about meaning, purpose, and whether any of this is worth continuing. Suddenly your teenager sounds like someone working through something much larger than a curiosity about ideas or a philosophy class assignment. Why is any of this worth doing? Does life actually mean anything? What is the point of trying when everything eventually falls apart anyway? Sometimes this is genuinely curious intellectual exploration. Their brain discovered big questions and wants to turn them over and examine them. Sometimes it is not intellectual at all. The difference is that curiosity feels light and interested, while crisis feels flat and without energy. If these questions appear alongside disturbed sleep, appetite changes, dark humor, friend instability, and a darkened bedroom, they mean something specific. You do not need to deliver a lecture on philosophy or meaning. You can simply meet them where they actually are right now instead. Try. When you ask that, it sounds like things feel pretty pointless right now. On a scale from just thinking to I'm really not okay, where are you? Let them place themselves on that scale and then stay quiet and listen to whatever they choose to put in the space you just opened. Because when their brain cannot find a safe way to say I am not okay, their body will often begin communicating that message on its behalf. Number 10. They are consistently unwell, but every medical appointment comes back with the same result. Nothing physically wrong is found. Headaches that appear regularly, stomach pain without a pattern, chest tightness, exhaustion that sleep does not seem to repair or reduce. You have taken them to appointments, run the tests, followed every recommendation, and every result comes back looking fine and normal. When children do not have language for emotional pain or do not feel safe using that language, the pain converts itself into physical symptoms. Anxiety lives in the stomach. Depression lives in energy levels. Chronic stress lives in muscles and in the head pain that follows from it. I feel sick becomes the safest available translation for I feel scared. I feel overwhelmed. I do not know how to face another day like this. The child who is always unwell but never diagnosable is not performing or seeking attention. Their body is saying what their words cannot yet. This is often where the 2 in the morning reorganizing at the beginning of all of this eventually lands, the body taking over from words. Try saying, "We checked your body and it is okay." That actually makes me wonder if your feelings might be what is hurting right now instead. If that is true, you're not imagining things and you're not broken, and we can absolutely find help for that kind of pain together. What you do after you notice these signs matters as much as noticing them does, and most parents are not told what to actually do next. Seeing this clearly is uncomfortable. You might be feeling guilty or scared or overwhelmed by what you are now looking at differently. You do not need to be perfect in this moment. You need a practical direction and 4 steps that do not require anything dramatic from you. Step 1 is to look for clusters rather than isolated moments, because one dark joke or one bad grade does not equal a crisis alone. 3 or 4 of these signals showing up together in the same child over a short window of time, that is your actual signal to act. Step 2 is to name what you are observing without blame or drama attached to the observation when you bring it to them directly. I have noticed you are up late a lot. Your appetite has changed, and you have been making some pretty dark jokes about yourself lately. No accusation, no catastrophizing, no pressure. Just a calm description of specific things you have genuinely observed and been sitting with. Step 3 is to open a door without pushing them through it before they are ready to walk through it on their own terms and timing. You do not have to tell me anything right now, but if any part of what you are carrying is heavy, I want you to know I can handle it. I will not fall apart. I will not overreact. I just want to understand what is actually happening for you if you're willing to share it. The fear most children have is not whether you will be angry. It is whether the truth will be too much for you to hold steadily. You repair that fear slowly and consistently by proving through behavior over time that you will not look away when things get uncomfortable. Step 4 is to bring in support sooner than feels necessary, rather than waiting until the situation has become an undeniable crisis. A school counselor, a therapist, a doctor who understands mental health, asking for help is refusing to wait for things to get worse first. The question they lie awake with is, if they could see the real me, the overwhelmed me, the exhausted me, would they stay or would they go? Noticing these signs is the first step, but what you say in the moment after noticing is where everything either opens or closes between you.